What's up, everybody? It's Coach JB with HoopStudy, and today we are going to break down Tina Charles, and I'm going to show you how to create a scouting report and a game plan to make sure that you can do your best to negate a star player from the other team. Let's check it out. So for those of you who do not know, Tina Charles is a power forward that plays for the Washington Mystics, and she's notorious for crushing defenders in the post. But we're going to look at her numbers, and we're also going to look at different ways to defend the post. So this way, if you face this type of player, you'll at least have a game plan going into the game. So checking out our learning targets for the day, we are going to break down Tina Charles's game, and then we're going to learn how to scout a player. So we're going to look at their different tendencies and how to defend them. We're going to look at their numbers and what they actually mean, and then we're going to go over some tactics for defending post players. So checking out her numbers, we're going to see that 32% of the time she's posting up, and followed up by that is going to be spot up jumpers, which is at 19%. And then down at the very bottom, she's only isolated 6% of the time. So we're not really going to be worrying about defending her in an isolated position. Now, I do get this question a lot. Where do you get your numbers from? So I do utilize resources like Synergy, but at the same time, I still break down all of the film that I watch. So even though I'm looking at the numbers on Synergy, what I'm also doing is making my own subcategories, and I'm tracking those things. I'm putting down tally marks, I'm adding things up, and I'm looking at the percentages. So this way I can see the tendencies that I'm trying to find. So what are those tendencies that we saw with Tina Charles? So first up, we saw that she posted up 57% of the time on the left block. So we know we have to try to keep her away from there, but she's more than likely going to get there regardless. So when she's on the left block, here are her tendencies. 43% of the time as she turns her right shoulder, she's either getting into a jump shot or she's going into a drop step. Now, if she turns over her left shoulder, it's probably going to be a hook shot, considering 79% of the time that's what she's doing. And then lastly, when she faces up, 87.5% of the time she's driving to the middle. So you know she faces up, she's going middle. But two huge statistics that really stand out here is 93% of the time when she turns right, she's taking a dribble, and 100% of the time when she turns left, she's taking a dribble. So you better believe that she's taking a dribble when she's posting up on the left block. And you're going to understand in a little bit why it's so important to know that she's going to take a dribble, because we're going to show you a defensive tactic that you could put into place that will make her life very difficult when it comes to her scoring. Because a lot of the times you're not going to stop these athletes from scoring, but you do need to slow them up. You're going to have to live with something. All right, now let's get into studying some film. So again, we're talking about her turning over her right shoulder here, posted up and a little fadeaway. And the cool thing about this is when we start to study this film, you notice that when she catches this and she puts the ball down, she's going to get into that little fadeaway each time. So you're already starting to notice these different tendencies. Now, the cool thing is we're going to see some tendencies already popping up. If you look though, the interesting thing here is they send this athlete to dig and trap, but she just gets there a little late. So she already knows that she's going into this fade. She's just late. Looking at her next tendency, when she turns right, it's going to be her drop step. You'll notice that the issue here is that the defense is late. They're helping too late. And we're going to look at a way to negate this. But again, they're sending someone. They're just sending her late. So they know how to go at this, and their game plan is there. They're just a little late. So we're going to take a look at that too. But as I said before, sometimes the athlete is just really good, and you're just going to have to live with them scoring because there's not much you can do about this. And the last tendency that we're looking at is when she turns over her left shoulder, she's always getting into a hook shot. And it's important to know this because then you can already tell your defender, just look for this hook shot because it's coming. And the other thing that you can plan for is how you can actually attack this with a second person. And again, you just notice here that the defender is late. So just understand, you might have the game plan in place, but your athletes are human. They're going to make mistakes from time to time. But just again, reassure them that if we're in the right spot, if we go on time and we do the right thing, then good things can happen for us. Here they send two athletes, but the problem is she backs away and now there's a scoring opportunity. All right, so let's talk about some defensive tactics. The dig is up first. A dig is a brief lunge by a perimeter defender toward a posting up offensive player intended to bring secondary ball pressure without doubling or double teaming or trapping. So we're going to see in this first clip, the athlete that is being highlighted, right now they're going to dig down and try to get a hand in the area just to make this post player feel uncomfortable, so this way they don't feel like they can get up an easy shot. Again, next clip, pay attention to the highlighted athlete. This individual is going to lunge down and just kind of put a hand in the area of where the ball handler is, where they're posting up, make them feel uncomfortable and go away from the pressure. If there's a team that you really want to study that does a good job on defense, it's UVA. Here you'll notice that the dig actually comes up from the corner and they're able to get a hand in there. And in our next clip, you're going to see because of the dig, the focus is completely on that individual, so the on-ball defender is actually able to get a steal in from behind. And lastly, again, the dig coming from multiple areas is just forcing the ball handler to feel rushed, and they end up traveling. Next up, we have our choke, blitz, double team, whatever you want to call it. We're going to see how UVA utilizes this in order to get stops. First up, they always send the middleman, the middle help defender, in order to send that trap their way. However, what you need to understand is that it's a team defensive tactic. You'll notice that when they go to choke or trap in the post, that it's a team tactic. Everybody is shifting ball side and they're taking away passing opportunities. And if we look in the next clip, we're going to see the same exact thing. Try to focus down here in this bottom corner. You notice that number 25 shifts over to take away that pass to the middle. Again, looking at it, shifts over, they throw the ball away. Let's check out a couple more clips live.
Concerned about beyond the arc. Champagne. Since then, he had gone 4 games and only played 21 minutes of those 4 games, but 4 straight games where he had not.
Lastly, if you're facing a post player that likes to put the ball on the ground, just like we saw with Tina Charles here, try to utilize this tactic that Muggsy Bogues used to use. He wouldn't go for a steal until he knew that the ball was coming out of their hands and going down to the ground, or until they saw it being picked up. So again, right here, you can see he's locked in on the ball, and he's not going to go for this steal until he knows it reaches up into their hand, and then it has to go back down. So boom, reaching it right then. Same thing here. He waits until the ball is picked up, and then he gets a hand in on it. Looking at it again, spin move, picks it up, hand goes in. Same exact thing in our next clip. Doesn't go for the steal until the ball is being picked up. And again, in our last clip, we look at it in a live ball one-on-one situation. He's locked in watching that ball. It goes down to the ground, and then he's going for it. So the timing there is really important. Let's review. So when it comes to scouting, make sure that you're watching film. Try to make sense of the numbers that you're seeing. Pay attention to specific tendencies and chart how often and where those tendencies occur. And then create a game plan to reduce that player's effectiveness. You're not going to stop them more than likely, but you can reduce their effectiveness. And then use a variety of tactics in order to get the job done. Lastly, I know there's a lot of coaches out there who aren't big into the numbers or analytics side, and I think Shane Battier put this best. He said that analytics are not a game plan. Analytics are a tool. He wants to have one more tool on his tool belt in order to stop the opponent. So don't look at this as if I'm saying that you have to go by the statistics. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying use it as a tool in order to create your game plan to try to stop the other team's best player.